Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to the Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's class from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, chapter 4, text 10 through 16. And we're fortunate enough this morning for the class to be given by Her Grace Gita Devidasi from ISKCON, Atlanta. Hare Krishna, Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai, and it's all yours.
Thank you.
Hare.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahams Paribrajakacharya Stotrashat Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nant Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyam Kun Radha Kundiri Govardhan Ki Jai वृंदावन धाम की जय मायापुर धाम की जय जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय गंगा माई की जय यमुना माई की जय तुलसी की जय सबके भक्त वृंद की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि
Hare.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Glories to Sri Guru and Sri Guru.
Lord, Sri Guru.
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्तवृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्तवृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्तवृंद Reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, Chapter 4, The Confidential Reasons for the Appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, text number 10. Purna Bhagavan avatare yehi kale arasabha avatara tante asiya mile. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. When the complete Supreme Personality of Godhead descends, all other incarnations of the Lord meet together within him. Text 11 and 12. Narayana Chaturvyuha Matsyadi Avatara Yuga Manvantara Avtara Yata Ache Ara Sabeyasi Krishna Ange Haya Avatirna Aiche Avatara Krishna Bhagavan Purna. Translation. Lord Narayana, the four primary expansions, Vasudev, Sankarshana, Pradyumna and Aniruddha, Matsya, and the other Lila incarnations, the Yuga avatars, the Manvantara incarnations, and as many other incarnations as there are, all descend in the body of Lord Krishna. In this way, the complete Supreme Godhead, Lord Krishna himself, appears. Text 13. Ataiva Vishnu Takhana Krishna Rasharire Vishnu Dware Kare Krishna Asura Samhare. Translation. At that time, therefore, Lord Vishnu is present in the body of Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna kills the demons through him. Text 14. Anusanga karma ei asura marana ei lagi avatara kahi semula karana. Translation. Thus, the killing of the demons is but secondary work. I shall now speak of the main reason for the Lord's incarnation. Text 15 and 16. Prema rasa niryasa karite asvadana, raga marga bhakti loke karite pracharana, rasika shekhara krishna parama karuna, eidui hetu haite ichara udgama. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Lord's desire to appear was born from two reasons. The Lord wanted to taste the sweet essence of the mellows of love of God, and he wanted to propagate devotional service in the world on the platform of spontaneous attraction. Thus, he is known as supremely jubilant and as the most merciful of all. Purport. During the period of Lord Krishna's appearance, the killing of asuras or non-believers such as Kamsa and Jarasandha was done by Vishnu, who was within the person of Sri Krishna. Such apparent killing by Lord Sri Krishna took place as a matter of course and was an incidental activity for him. But the real purpose of Lord Krishna's appearance was to stage a dramatic performance of his transcendental pastimes at Brajabhumi, thus exhibiting the highest limit of transcendental mellow in the exchanges of reciprocal love between the living entity and the Supreme Lord. These reciprocal exchanges of mellows are called Raga Bhakti, or devotional service to the Lord in transcendental rapture. Lord Sri Krishna wants to make known to all the conditioned souls that he is more attracted by Raga Bhakti than Vedhi Bhakti or devotional service under scheduled regulations. It is said in the Vedas that Taittiriya Upanishad 2.7, Raso Vesaha, the absolute truth is a reservoir for all kinds of reciprocal exchanges of loving sentiments. He's also causelessly merciful, and he wants to bestow upon us this privilege of Raga Bhakti. Thus, he appeared by his own internal energy. He was not forced to appear by any extraneous force. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So here in this chapter, we are seeing the confidential reasons for the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, the last verse that we saw, or starting from text number 10, we see that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is complete. That reminds us of a beautiful verse. Om Purnam Ada Purnam Idam Purnat Purnya Udachyate Purnasya Purna Adaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate. Beautiful verse where the translation is that the personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. And because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as the phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. like WHOLES, complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because he is complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. That is the definition of Krishna being the complete. No matter what comes out, emanates from him, he still remains complete. Say, for instance, if an arm is cut off from a material body, the material body is not considered complete. It's considered incomplete because one arm is missing. But with Krishna, he is complete always. Then it says in the verse that all incarnations are within him. And we learned that in the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna tells Arjuna in chapter 10, Aham sarvasya prabhu mataha sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam. He says, Aham sarvasya prabhu. Everything is within him and everything emanates from him. He says, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. How very important. That means everything is within him and he's the source. Everything emanates from him. Everything emanates from me, he says. He says the wise who perfectly know this, they are the ones who engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So bhakti is not half-hearted. It has to be with full heart, which means complete surrender, complete faith, firm faith. And it should be like giving ourselves completely to Krishna. Not that, we do bhakti casually. Sometimes not. Sometimes I feel like chanting. Sometimes I don't feel like chanting. Sometimes I read Prabhupada's book. Sometimes I don't. Here, it's talking about Krishna is saying, worship me with all their hearts. Let's take a mundane example. When a boy loves a girl with all his heart, he does everything for the girl, whether it is shopping, expensive shopping, going to restaurants, buying clothes, jewelry, whatever it may be, because his full heart is there in that relationship. Krishna wants us to worship him with all our hearts. And then what does he say? Who engage in his service? Those who are wise. And wisdom comes from knowledge. It just doesn't appear. It's not that we are born wise, right? The wisdom comes from knowledge. And knowledge comes by understanding the Bhagavad Gita. So once we take on knowledge from the scriptures and put it into application, then we become wise. And then Krishna says, the wise worship me with all their hearts. That means there has to be full faith, full surrender, following all the instructions that are given to us by the Supreme Lord. Then in one of the verses, it is said that all incarnations, they descend in Lord Krishna. This is how he appears when all the incarnations, see, all are within him, all descend in him, and all emanate from him. And there is mention of Yuga avatar, incarnation, Yuga incarnations, which means for each Yuga, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga, there are different incarnations. Those are Yuga avatars. Then there's Manvantara avatars, Lila avatars, Purusha avatars, Guna avatars, Shaktavesha avatars. So these are the 6 different kinds of incarnations. And Krishna, it seems even Lord Vishnu is present in the body of Lord Krishna. In India, we hear that Krishna comes from Vishnu. But no, here is the reference from the scriptures that Vishnu comes from Krishna. And Lord Vishnu, he is the one, when he is within Krishna, he's the one who kills the demons. It's the Lord Vishnu. Killing, like Prabhupada mentions, killing demons like Kamsa and Jarasandha. And killing these demons is, of course, the secondary work. And Srila Prabhupada says these are incidental activities, by the way. Imagine killing demons is by the way. It's not easy to kill demons, but for Krishna, it's just a matter of a split second, and he can kill any demon anytime. But the real purpose, Srila Prabhupada says, real purpose for Krishna to appear was to perform his transcendental pastimes in Vraja. This is 5,000 years ago. But when he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then also he wanted to perform transcendental pastimes, and he also wanted to demonstrate reciprocal love between the living entity and the Supreme Lord. Srila Prabhupada says this is called Raga Bhakti, or devotional service which is performed spontaneously. And Krishna is more attracted to Raga Bhakti, which is spontaneous attraction, spontaneous love, rather than Vaidhi Bhakti. Vaidhi Bhakti is, devotional service, which is based on following rules and regulations. Of course, in the beginning, we need to follow the rules and regulations, right? But not follow it because for the sake of following it, or, no, we need to follow rules and regulations after understanding them. Why are we following these rules? Why is it that we follow the 4 regulative principles? No meat eating, fish, eggs, onion, garlic. Why are we abstaining from intoxication? Why are we not engaged in illicit sex, right? Why are we, what is the 4th one? No meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, and no gambling. Why is it given in the scriptures that we should not gamble? So there are reasons. So when we understand the reasons why we need to follow certain rules and regulations, then that is better than just following them with blind faith. In the Nectar of Instruction, it is mentioned, especially in verse number 2, it says, Atyahara prayasascha prajalponyam agraha. Very beautiful verse. It says, one's devotional life is spoiled when one, becomes too entangled in 6 activities. And the first one is eating more than necessary, or collecting more funds than required. Second one is over endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain. Number 3 is talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters, like what is the stock market today, how's the weather today, etc., etc. These are mundane material talks. Fourth one is practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following them, and not for the sake of spiritual advancement, trying to understand, okay, when the scriptures are giving us these rules, are they for my betterment? Yes, they are, to help us to advance spiritually, if spirituality is our goal. And rejecting the rules and regulations and working independently or whimsically. Oh, I feel like doing this. Or in my opinion, no. We are not perfect beings. We have 4 defects. We make mistakes. We are an illusion. We have imperfect senses, and we have tendency to cheat. So if we are imperfect, how can we try to give perfect knowledge from our, based on our intelligence? No, perfect knowledge comes from perfect source, which is the Supreme Lord. And his instructions are given to us in the Vedic scriptures. The 5th one is associating with worldly minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness, who have no interest in spirituality at all. So we should not associate with them. And the 6th one is being greedy for mundane achievements. This we find it's very, very common in this material world. Now, the first one that spoils our devotional life is eating more than necessary. You know, scientifically, it's proved when a person eats more than necessary, that causes disease. That also causes laziness, because overeating causes, one to fall asleep. It causes lethargy. Our Srila Prabhupada says our digestive system is, built in such a way by Krishna that, we should fill a quarter of our belly with water before eating. Then we should eat till only filling half the belly. So that's 3/4, right? And we should leave quarter of the portion of the belly for the air to flow, so that there is some good digestion taking place. So quarter water, half food, quarter air. This is how we can remain disease free. You see, so eating more than necessary also causes disease. Collecting more funds than needed is greed. Greed can never be satisfied, no matter, how much we try. If we run after more funds than necessary, then that will really put us down in Krishna consciousness, because greed will pull us down. Over-endeavoring is not going to help. As Srila Prabhupada says, we get what is based, whatever we have earned in our karma. If in my karma, it's hypothetically, if in my karma I'm supposed to earn only $5 million, no matter how hard I try, I am not going to earn more than what is destined for me. You see? So why over-endeavor? Talking unnecessarily. I was listening to a lecture. Excuse me. Excuse me. I was listening to a lecture. Oh, by the way, can you please unshare the screen? I forgot. Thank you. So I was listening to a lecture where Prabhu was saying, it has been noticed, I don't know how far it's true, maybe it sounds like it's true, that women speak 25,000 words in a day and men speak 10,000 words in a day. Now we know who gossips more, women gossip more than men. So talking unnecessarily, that is what prajalpa, talking about mundane material things. We have got this rare human form of life, and we have the tongue so that we can speak. What do we speak? What do we use our tongue for? Vibrating and eating. Vibrating what? Instead of prajalpa, why not use our tongue for Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And use our tongue for eating only Krishna Prasadam. So talking unnecessarily is going to pollute or contaminate the consciousness. Then talks about niyamagraha. Rules and regulations. Rules and regulations are there so that we can improve our spiritual lives. They help us. But we should not follow them just because someone told me to follow them. No, we need to understand why. And also not reject those, right? Then these rules and regulations will gradually help us to purify ourselves. They help us so that our 4 pillars, spiritual pillars, become very strong. Mercy, honesty, austerity, right? And what is the one? Mercy. So these 4 pillars of our spiritual lives will become strong if we follow these rules and regulations. Association. Not associate with worldly minded people, try and associate with devotees. Because when we associate with non-devotees, they take us away from Krishna consciousness. being greedy, over endeavoring, trying to get more and more and more, getting greedy for material achievements. All these material achievements are temporary. Nothing is permanent. Spiritual life is permanent. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining to us, to come to spontaneous devotional service, we need to follow 6 principles which are favorable. 6 principles are there that can help us to move more towards our spiritual lives, to progress in our spiritual lives. One is being enthusiastic. Srila Prabhupada says, if we don't feel enthusiastic, then he says, pretend to be enthusiastic. Then gradually one will become enthusiastic. Second is endeavoring with confidence. How can we get that confidence? When we take on the knowledge. When we read Srila Prabhupada's books, his purports, his instructions, Krishna's instructions, Guru's instructions, that help us to get that confidence that yes, the path that I'm following, path of Krishna consciousness, is the right path. So endeavoring with confidence. Next is being patient. Srila Prabhupada gives a nice example of being patient. He says, when a woman gets married and on the very first night when she meets her husband, she says, I want a child tomorrow. It's not possible, right? She has to be patient. It takes 9 months for the child to be born. So patience is a virtue that we all should look to imbibe in us, patience. Next is regulative principles. Next is not associating with non-devotees. And the last is following the previous acharyas. So we can see that these both 6 principles which spoil our devotional service and 6 principles that are favorable for devotional service are common. These points are common. Association plays a very, very, very important part. We have seen from a personal example during the time of Srila Prabhupada, there was his disciple, one of his disciples, who did not like to associate with devotees. He told Srila Prabhupada, I want to build a hut and just be by myself so that I can sit there and chant and not be disturbed with other devotees. And we have heard what happened. After a while, he was gone because Srila Prabhupada explains association is very, very important. If we do not associate with devotees, then how will we progress in our spiritual lives? So here in these verses, today's verses that we read from 10 to 16, we see what is the main reason for Lord Krishna's incarnation. And it says Krishna's desire to appear was for 2 reasons. He wanted to taste the sweet essence of mellows of love of God. Next is to propagate devotional service in the world on platform of spontaneous attraction. The Supreme Lord, he came to propagate, to help us to come out of Maya, to come out of illusion. What is the illusion, main illusion that people in general have in the material world? I'm going to live forever. This material body is going to be there forever. That's an illusion. So the propagation of these scriptures, propagation of bhakti yoga is very, very important. It helps one to come out of illusion, to come out of Maya. And, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came, Lord Krishna's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to help us to understand this, to preach to us, and also help us to preach to others, to give this knowledge to others so they can also come out of illusion. What does Srila Prabhupada says? Preaching is the essence. Preaching is very important, but purity is the force. only when we are able to purify ourselves, at least to some extent, by following this process of Krishna consciousness, then it becomes possible to preach. And how does one become pure? By having strong sadhana, following strong sadhana, reading Srila Prabhupada's books. You see, like Srila Prabhupada says, practice before you preach. So if we practice devotional service, bhakti yoga on a daily basis, that will cleanse our heart. That will cleanse our, purify our senses, our mind, our intelligence. And then it'll become possible by the mercy of Guru and Krishna to be able to preach. So here in one of the verses, especially the last one, it says that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is considered supremely jubilant and most merciful. That's why he's called, Mahavadanyaya, most merciful. Srila Prabhupada, he mentions in the purport that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is causelessly merciful. When he came down, when Krishna came down 500 years ago as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was so merciful that he was freely distributing love of Krishna, freely distributing the Maha Mantra, so that one can chant the Maha Mantra and purify oneself. He was freely distributing his mercy. That's why Srila Prabhupada calls him causelessly merciful. He did not say, oh, give me $100 and then I'll give you the Maha Mantra, or give me this or give me that, and then I will tell you how to love the Supreme Lord. No, he just wanted to distribute love of Krishna freely. But you see, excuse me, when there's anything free, we have no value for it. When we have to pay something, then we say, aha, this is something that is valuable because I paid for it. No, it's not necessary. Just because the Lord came to distribute love of God freely doesn't mean it has no value. It is most valuable. Then it is mentioned that Krishna's, when he descends by his own internal energy. He's not forced by anyone to descend. He's not forced to incarnate. He's not, it's not that there is some circumstance or some situation that Krishna has to come. No, he comes by his own free will. Excuse me. So similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is non-different from Krishna, he appeared to save us, misguided souls in this material world. He came to show us how to disentangle ourselves. Right now, we are all entangled. We are entangled in, due to, attachment, attraction, or you can say not enough knowledge, not being wise enough. We are entangled. But he came to show us how to disentangle ourselves simply by following the process of Krishna consciousness given to us in the scriptures. When we do that, then it will help us to go back to Godhead. And Srila Prabhupada, he has explained everything in a very simple manner, how to follow this simple process through his books. Everything is there in his books. Excuse me. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yagnarthat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tad artham karma kantaya mukta sangaha samachara. If we want to disentangle ourselves, then we need to follow the simple process of working for Krishna, offering all the results of our activities to Krishna. This is how we will be able to disentangle ourselves. There's another beautiful verse in Bhagavad Gita, Yad karoshi yad ashnashi yad juhoshi tadash. Krishna says, whatever we do, whether it is, offering something, giving in charity, working, whatever it is. He says, do it for me. When we do that, when we offer the results of our activities to him, then we lead a karma-free life. And that means no more entanglement. But to do that, it's very important that we are very vigilant. If we are not conscious when we are performing bhakti yoga, then it could be dangerous. Like Srila Prabhupada calls it, the razor's edge, right? When the sadhana is strong, perfect. But when Maya starts to attack us, that is like razor's edge. It can really harm us. So we have to be very, very careful. While I was preparing for this class, I was reading the summary given by Srila Prabhupada in the beginning of the chapter, and he says that there are three principal reasons for appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And these are confidential reasons. One is to relish the position of Srimati Radha Rani. Second is to understand the transcendental mellow of himself. He wanted to taste, what does it taste like, when Srimati Radharani gets that pleasure of, loving Krishna. He wanted to understand that transcendental mellow of himself. And the third reason is to enjoy the bliss that is tasted by Srimati Radharani. Then Srila Prabhupada mentions two secondary reasons. One is to preach the significance of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And the second is to answer the call of Sri Advaita Acharya. We've heard how Sri Advaita Acharya, who's none other than Mahavishnu, who sat down on the banks of the Ganges and he offered, tulasi leaves to the Lord, praying, loudly calling out to the Supreme Lord to please come down. This is, Kali Yuga. People are so misguided. They are lazy. They are unfortunate. They have no idea about spirituality. Please come down and help these conditioned souls. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also came down to answer the call of Sri Advaita Acharya. So these are the reasons given in the beginning of this chapter. The last verse that I read today is, the Lord's desire to appear was born from two reasons. The Lord wanted to taste the sweet essence of the mellows of love of God, and he wanted to propagate devotional service in the world on the platform of spontaneous attraction. Thus, he is known as supremely jubilant and as the most merciful of all. I'll end here. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mother Gita. This is a very, very nice lecture, taking us to the next level of instruction, talking about the 6 things that we should, that are unfavorable to devotional service, and the 6 things that are favorable to devotional service. And when you mention the 6 things favorable, you started with Utsaha. It's very, very, very important that we should be very, very, very jubilant, enthusiastic. And so when devotees are having kirtan and jumping up and down, we jump up and down with them. As much as the body can take, get all excited about Krishna consciousness, and our love for Godhead will then be kicked off. So that, as it was stated in the Shastra, that we move from Vairi Sadhana Bhakti to Raga Bhakti. Now we do with our, not from instructions, because actually we can't love anybody by instructions, according to the instructions you read, okay, you have to love this, it has to come from the heart. So definitely it's Raga Bhakti that's going to really, really make us experience, Krishna consciousness in full. But it's a good start because we were conditioned. So this is a very good start. Thank you very much for the lecture. So devotees, if you want to ask questions or talk about takeaways, any part of it that excites you, or make some comments, please do that. Just unmute yourself and go for it. Hare Krishna. So while the devotees are thinking, there's one takeaway that I like. Okay, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mother Gita. Please accept my humble obeisances, all Goswami Prabhupada. Thank you for a wonderful class. You touched on so many amazing points. Sri Isopanishad, Nectar of Devotion, Nectar of Instruction, basic Bhakta Handbook. You touched on all of the major shastras and scriptures and our foundation of our Krishna consciousness. Such a wonderful class. Thank you so much, Mother. And I wanted to also, Mother, thank you for sharing that, the research that you talked about, how, women talk 25,000 something.
25,000 words.
Hare Krishna.
A day.
That's very exhausting. But anyway, it sounds very exhausting, Mother, because it's interesting that we touched upon that in our class last night at our Sunday program, how gossip is such an attraction, that we just don't even catch ourselves. And that is, and sadly, it happens even in the devotee community, not just in the non-devotee community. And it's such a big issue that I'm just wondering, Mother, see, I've heard that gossip, when we hear something, we just walk away. But at the same time, it's not helping the situation. So how can we, besides just walking away and allowing the gossip, to continue and spread, how can we, is there anything that we can do to probably bring it to the attention and say, why this gossip? I mean, like, what is the other option, or what is the other, way to handle it besides just walking away? Is there another way?
Yes, there is a polite way. Yes, there's a polite way. And what I do is when I meet another devotee and the devotee starts gossiping, I kind of change the conversation. I immediately take it to something about Krishna or Guru or not only that, I try to say, for instance, I meet a devotee and says, do you know so-and-so devotee did this? And immediately I stop that and I say, oh, do you know that devotee sings so beautifully? I start, finding good qualities of that devotee so that, the mind is distracted from gossip and, starts focusing, because I don't know if, I'm sure all of us have noticed that if we want to, say, Anasuya, I want to talk to you about some devotee, but I'm not able to remember the name. And I say, do you know that devotee, and then we try to find fault first. You say, that devotee who has a big nose or, has big ears, that's wrong, right? We do that. But why not instead say, oh, do you remember that devotee who sang so beautifully in Kirtan on Sunday? So try and move the conversation towards glorifying that devotee so that, first of all, the gossip stops. Secondly, the other devotee is made to remind of the good qualities of the person that they are gossiping about. So these are the two ways I think you can politely,
Thank you, Mother.
That helps. When I see that same devotee every time I meet is gossiping, then I say, I think this gossiping is not really going to help our consciousness. And it is also an offense to blaspheme another devotee. So let's talk about Krishna. So that point also reaches home that you are gossiping too much. You need to stop. So this is what I think.
Yes, thank you very much for these examples. And when you were talking about rather than devotee talk to another devotee in a negative way, gossiping, but say something positive, it reminded me of one situation with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj, when one of his disciples, which means Godfather of Srila Prabhupada, went to him and complained about another godbrother, another disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj. So Maharaj listened, and after he heard all these negative things about the other disciple, then he said, is there anything good that this particular disciple does? So then this disciple was shocked, but then, Maharaj asked the question, you have to answer it. So he said, yes, Maharaj, he plays Mridanga very nicely. Then Maharaj said, why didn't you say that one first? Like that. So immediately when he started talking about, when they say something negative, he starts something positive. They reminded me of this particular situation that was described to us. So much is on chat now, so I'll start reading it if devotees permit me. Dhanavad Prana Hare Krishna Mataji. So this was a greeting by Saurabh Prabhu. Then, dear Krishna, Prabhu said, Hare Krishna Mother, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Very sweet class, thank you. Regarding how Srimati Radharani feels so much ecstatic joy in serving Krishna, we can see a little glimpse of this in our devotional life. For example, I've seen a few devotees feeling unexplainable joy in feeding, in feeding other devotees. So let me read it again. I've seen a few devotees feeling unexplainable joy in feeding other devotees, even when they themselves are hungry, especially when they have the cooking service, cooking seva. And then for gossip, we say, well, we suggested something. Tell the gossiper that someone else is gossiping about them. And wait to see their facial expression.
That is a good one. That is a good one.
Yeah, anyway, so and then there's one more from Sharaf. Okay, now he continues. Sharaf Prabhupada ki jai. Senior devotees, like they make bhakti look so easy and blissful. I was getting the kind of message throughout the class. Okay, so this is how he was feeling about when you were preaching, that we just have to follow their charges and things will fall in place. And the gratitude you have for their charges. Okay, all right. So you mentioned that, which was the point that you made, following the charges. Actually, it's in nectar of the instruction also that we have to follow the charges. Yeah. Thank you. So
following the acharyas makes our life simple. We don't have to use, this is what attracted me to Krishna consciousness. Everything was given on a platter. All I had to do is follow it. I didn't have to brainstorm, what should I do? Maybe this will be better, that will be better. No, everything is given in the scriptures, and the acharyas, they repeat the same thing. So we don't have to brainstorm. All we have to do is just follow what they are doing. Of course, not imitate, but just follow in their footsteps. And we are safe,
Mother, you made such a wonderful point, Mother, because that was actually how it was for me when I joined Krishna consciousness. We were told by the seniors, you just follow. That's it. You just follow. No if, no buts, no ands, no this, no that, north, south, east, west, nothing is that you just follow. If the guru says, okay, we can't even ask. He said, we just do it, And I've noticed over the years, 30 years later, it's always, trying to change the whimsical, as Prabhupada said in his books. Like, it's very difficult for people to just simply just follow. Don't, just follow. It's like such a challenge.
It is a false ego that stops us from following. It's like, does that mean I'm not intelligent enough to discover something? No, it's everything. And best part is, in the disciplic succession, the authenticity is there. It's not that one guru is changing, another is changing to something else. No, it's coming down as it is. So that itself should give us an indication that we can just follow. Of course, we don't follow blindly. We understand, why we are following rules, why we are offering food, why are we associating. We understand it, and then we follow it. Simple.
Yeah. Very, very, very important point. Very important point. And as you were speaking, I remembered one analogy that was given in a lecture about guru. So guru is a coach. And what happens in the situation when you're in a team, when you have a coach, you go by the coach's instructions. Sometimes the coach will take that part of the game that he's trying to describe and actually do it himself or herself so you see what it is like. So yeah, that way, and people that follow the coaches, they become a good team. So it's all there like that.
And it's not that the spiritual master in the spiritual session is just sitting and giving orders. No, he's following himself.
Mm-hmm.
They are all the spiritual masters, bona fide ones. They are all following whatever Srila Prabhupada has explained. They are following Srila Prabhupada. So previous acharyas, they are following, and that sets as an example for us, so that we can one day become an example also.
Yeah, wonderful. Yep, that's Acharya. Acharya preaches and also follows. So yeah, wonderful. So then we can watch, and what he said to do, you see him do or see her do it, then we also do the same thing and get better at it because he's an expert at it. Like that. Hare Krishna. So all wonderful points. Wonderful points. Oh, and one more thing that you said, this is my takeaway. He said, when you quote it from Bhagavad Gita, whatever you do, whatever you offer, whatever you, and then he says, when we offer the results of our activities to Krishna, then we live a karma-free life. So here's how you get away from karma and the reactions. Offer the results of our activities to Krishna. Very, very
difficult. That's not easy to do. Because the false ego is like, I worked hard, so I need to enjoy the results of my activities. Why should I give it to God?
Yeah, sometimes it's just that thoughts come, but the answer should be because the Lord reciprocates in a much better way than you yourself can even enjoy when you take your whatever you did in whatever work and you put it from yourself. You don't get even half the enjoyment that you would get if you reciprocate or you give to Krishna, because Krishna will reciprocate so nicely back. Hare Krishna.
And it's not that Krishna needs it. He enjoys on his own. He's complete. He doesn't need our fruits to enjoy. It's not that if we don't give our fruits of our actions, he will not enjoy. No, it's just to help us, disentangle ourselves from all the reactions.
And it's definitely, this is how we learn to love too. But when we give, yeah. It's all wonderful. Now we have to remember all of that. And practice it and help each other, remind each other. It's like this, remember, just like that. Then you will help each other to grow. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Any other points?
I wanted to really share that I really like, I just read Saurav's point, his takeaway, how the thing he was saying, if we look at the senior devotees, they just make bhakti look so simple and blissful. And it's so true, actually, because, last week I was at the Tamil President's meetings in Houston, and there were so many senior devotees, and they just make it so blissful. Yes, there were challenges. Yes, there were tough times, but they still make it so blissful and easy with a smile on their face and say, just follow, like, in fact, the whole 3 days, we were just talking about how it's so important to follow Prabhupada's teachings. How, devotees, and we were focusing on North America because it was just North American temple leaders. And so we were just focusing on the North American temples issues. And they were saying, that we need to just follow Prabhupada's teaching. That's it. Don't make it complicated. It's already there. But somehow, because like you said, Mother, because of intelligence and false ego, and I know so much because I'm very intellectual and so forth, they try to throw in their own stuff in it and then make it, make it more juicy. I don't know what it is. But he says, but Prabhupada already said it. Why are we trying to make it even, add more? Just make it very simple. And when I see all the senior devotees, they go through 10 billion times more struggles than, I'm sure temple leaders, do, because they are on a GBC level. But they still smile.
Mhm.
And they make it so simple. And they make it so blissful. And then they jump and dance and kirtan. And I said, that's it. Just follow the seniors, follow the advanced devotees, and then make the, and it's all there. But yeah, I was really liking sort of takeaway, and made me think about, how much I watched last week, and everybody had a smile on their face. It was nice. Yeah, Haribol.
Mm.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. And then Sarah, we added one more. If you don't like the offer, it's also Krishna, donate money to the temple causes and the programs and give your time to Krishna. That's a very good start. Donate Lakshmi, because that
But that
always
is also, but donating Lakshmi is also offering results,
Yeah.
to the Lord. Yes.
I know. We earn the money, then we offer
Yes.
to Krishna, so the temple bills can get paid and the temple programs can go on, and then we associate. Hare Krishna.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. We got to remember all of this. Hare Krishna, so much is there.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranams, all
Hare
glories to
Bol Krishna Shanam Prabhu. Please accept.
all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare
What a
Bol.
nice beautiful lecture.
Thank you.
And there are a lot of items, take home and work on it. It's like a homework, act on everything. So it's a very nice lecture, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Gita ji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Bol Bhakti. Hare Bol.
Good to see you, Mataji, and nice lecture.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Welcome back.
Thank you, Gita ji. You too.
Yes.
How are you
Hare
feeling,
Krishna.
Mataji? You feel
I'm
good?
feeling good now. Thank you.
I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Any other questions, comments, takeaways? Okay. So we're at the top of the hour, 9 o'clock. Thank you very much, Mother Gita, for a very nice,
Thank you.
practical lecture, reminding us of things and making so many connections. And now we can slowly move from Vaidhi Bhakti to Raga Bhakti. We do these things. Hare Krishna. And thank you all for coming and listening, and your chat messages and so on made it very, very nice. Very, very nice interaction between devotees. Jai. So, Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Suniva Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Have a nice rest of your week. Hare Krishna. Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Glory to the Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Glory to the Prabhupada.